So Volkswagen is finally having some problems. I mean, they've been having problems for a little bit with their with the EV market and their attempt to get into the EV market in Europe. And now I think a few years of really trying to get a foothold in that is really started to affect their bottom line. I read this article. This is CNN, so it's the Clown News Network. So expect about as much from them. But something like this, they don't. It's not typically political, even though they'll find a way to put some politics in there. Let's see what they have to say. Historic moment for Volkswagen. Automaker plans to close at least 3 German plants and cut thousands of jobs. Volkswagen plans to close at least 3 factories in Germany, lay off tens of thousands of staff, and downsize remaining plants in the country, the company's employee group said Monday. The domestic factory closures would be the first in Volkswagen's 87-year history, and they lay bare the challenges facing Germany's largest manufacturer. The plans are already facing pushback from labor unions in the country, where Volkswagen employs 295,000 people, setting the stage for possible strikes in the coming weeks. Volkswagen has been locked in negotiations with unions for weeks over its plans to cut costs and restructure business operations. If VW confirms its dystopian path on Wednesday, the board must expect the corresponding consequences on our part. Thorsten Groger, lead negotiator for one of Germany's most powerful unions, IG Metall, said in a statement Monday. While a potential strike is only possible starting December 1st in terms of an agreement between the union and Volkswagen, IG Metall told CNN that tens of thousands of workers are ready to express their dissatisfaction with management. In its statement Monday, Volkswagen's Works Council, which represents employees and holds half the seats on the company's board, said that the planned cuts, which include slashing all workers' pay by 10%, were deeper than expected and of historic dimensions. All German VW plants are affected by this. None of them are safe, Works Council chairperson Daniela Cavallo added. She said that Volkswagen planned to move some production abroad to outsource it to other companies and warned workers against dismissing its proposals as simply a negotiating tactic. This is the plan of Germany's largest industrial group to start sell off in its home country, Cavallo noted. Volkswagen, one of the world's biggest car makers, has warned that it needs a radical overhaul as the group faces growing competition in China and slowing sales elsewhere. And what they're talking about here is it's basically the EV market they're talking about. They're not funny that they don't say it. This is where the Clown News Network really drops the ball here. This is all spurned by the EV market that they've been trying to push in Europe. VW and Audi's affiliate through VW, they've been pushing an EV model of Audi in Europe, and it's just not taking. It's too expensive. People aren't buying it. China's coming in with a cheaper EV. Tesla's doing the same in Europe. Tesla's working on like a $25,000 model in Europe. They might push it around the rest of the Western world and stuff, but they've been working on this for a while. So this is basically all EV competition, and it's not working for Volkswagen. They've been really trying to make the shift over to EV, and it's obviously not panning out. They're starting to lose. They're realizing they're losing a lot of money. So this is their way of mitigating those losses. But they won't mention it in this article. That's what's really going on. According to executives, the automaker is selling 500,000 fewer cars in Europe a year compared with its pre-pandemic levels, the equivalent of around 2 car plants. Volkswagen reiterated those sentiments in a statement Monday. The fact is the situation is serious. Human Resources Board member Gunnar Killen said, without comprehensive measures to regain competitiveness, we will not be able to afford essential future investments. Thomas Schaefer, the CEO of Volkswagen Passenger Cars, added that its German factories were not productive enough and that plant costs were as much as 50% above what the company had budgeted for, making individual plants twice as expensive as the competition. Anyways, they're not really telling the full story. Of course they're not telling the full story because the full story would involve EV. And EV right now is hot, and it's not a very left-leaning hot thing. Anybody who's a little bit more moderate conservative, maybe even moderate liberal, will understand that the EV market is a little bit of a bust. We just don't have the power. We don't have the infrastructure to charge these cars, let alone replace a whole industry that's been thriving for years suddenly, and drastically, right? So right now, I think the EV market represents about 10 or so percent in Europe. That's really a drop in the bucket. And if you're trying to put a lot of innovation, a lot of money, and a lot of effort towards pushing that market, well, you're going to take some losses, some financial losses, especially if you're not first in, which they weren't. So this is a lot more to do with the EV market than it is just a downed auto market in general, but you won't hear that from CNN, obviously.